Okay, is the audio going to work now? There, I think I got the audio figured out. Okay, welcome in everybody. Today is, what's today? It's the 27th of December 2018. It's Thursday. And I've got the Ryzen 7 2700X machine over here as my streamer today. I moved the video capture card and the Wi-Fi card into it. And I'm thinking that's the way I'm going to go for right now. That's why I built it. Like I said, I've got to be transferring it around. And I just don't think that Nuka-Cola case is going to be beneficial for me to be moving it around. I'll probably scratch it up. So we're going to go ahead and give the Ryzen 7 2700X a shot here at streaming. We'll see how well it does. Welcome in, everybody. Come on in. There's room for more. Let's bring them in. Bring them in. All right. It's been a long time today getting set up. Had a lot of things to do, a lot of errands to run, and wasn't even sure I was going to be able to go live today. But here I am. I've made it. Michael C., John Rice, Tony G., Jim Desposito, Seth Harris, and Joe, Colin Hilton, Eddie Casanova, Darren Gilholm, Paul Eddy, Keith W., Old Sparky, Tony G., Joel Titmus, Ben DeCour, Jacob Alvarez, Keith W., John McLaughlin, 8500 fan, Colin McGarry, Rory Gaming, Roblox, and more, Asco Pomelanian, IZ, Jacob Alvarez, oh, I think I'm repeating some names, Steve M., Derek Weymouth. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Hopefully everybody can see and hear me okay now. I think I've got everything set up here. Yeah, I didn't adjust the title of the video. I will do that a bit later. Thank you for pointing that out. I have bitten off a bit much here, so we're going to try and get through all of it. I did get an email from IZ, you'll see IZ in the chat room, who copied a page or copied the manual for the system back there, the Xeon system. And the motherboard manual states that the reason why the M.2 drive can be disabled is because it shares resources with the third PCIe slot. You only have 3, or maybe there's 4 in the video cards covering up one. But I didn't want to use the one directly below the video card because it blocks the fan on the video card. So there's only one other one, and that's the third one. Well, if I want to take my M.2 drive out and use a regular SSD, they excuse it by saying it's an enthusiast level board. Yeah, enthusiast level is a word for it. Moron is another word for it. Like if you're stupid enough to want to make that trade, only an enthusiast would make a decision like that. That's crazy. So I'm not real happy about that. Now look, let's face it, for most people building a system like that, you're going to throw a graphics card in it. That's going to be the end of it. You're not going to add any more devices, and I'm sure it's going to run fine. I will say the Ryzen 2700X is a bit louder than the system back here, but it's definitely quieter than old Threadripper was. But let's see how well it performs. Gary Walls contributed $2.79 Canadian. He says, "Have a Christmas Coke on me." Well, thank you. I think I will. Solo says, "I ordered my Premium Power t-shirt yesterday." Nice. Yeah, so we got the t-shirts available at Amazon.com and available at Teespring.com. There should be links to everything in the video notes below the video. If you have other merch ideas, please leave them in comments below, and we'll certainly consider other merch you guys might be interested in. Could I not relocate the video card to another PCI slot? Well, it's a micro ATX board. It only has 3 or 4 PCI slots, right? So if the fastest slot is the top slot. So if you move the video card beyond that, you're not going to get the performance. So let's say I drop the video card down 1 slot. Then there's only 1 slot left. Oh, I guess the top slot would then be available, wouldn't it? So I would be putting the HDMI card above the graphics card, because I was going to say, otherwise it just leaves that 3rd slot and we're right back to square one again. But reversing it around is not ideal because it's possible. It can be done. It can be done. I like to keep my graphics cards in the top slot for maximum performance. Now, whether or not in reality the graphics cards are really utilizing that, I don't know, but I just don't want to find out, to be honest. Yes, it could be done that way. My brain absolutely doesn't work that way. To me, that's not doing it right. and so it never occurred to me to drop the video card down a slot and then put the HDMI capture card above it. It certainly could be done. It could be done. But then I run into a problem still where I don't have any place for Wi-Fi then to go, which means I still need another slot. So like on the Ryzen 2700, I've got the video card, the video capture card, and then the high-speed Wi-Fi card, and they're each separated by a slot. So they're not all bumped up together. I hate that. I mean, if you have to bump them together, you have to. But my preference is to leave space for the cards to breathe, and this is doing it as it should. So far, so good. But yeah, you do make a point. That probably would work. It just goes, it gets under my skin because it's just not ideal. It's not that video card should always be in the top slot. Tony G's contributed $5. He says, buy some candy. Buy some candy. Buy some candy. Kevin says, Carey, I had a service call today, used a couple of your suggestions while I was there helping the client. Well, I need more information than that. What was the service call? What were the suggestions? Please elaborate. Ooh, can hear those fans are ramping up a little bit over here on the 2700X. I may end up working my way towards the 8086K. What I should do is probably do a portable streamer as a separate build, but it's going to be expensive because, you know, the capture cards are $900 each, and then use like the Nuka-Cola as like the permanent streamer. I'll probably work my way to that direction in 2019. But I want to give the 2700X a fair shake, given the difficulty I had with the M2 drive, the NVMe drive, and I'm sorry, regular SATA drive not performing as well as it should. Having resolved that with the other M2 slot available on this motherboard, I'm hoping now that the system will perform well. So let's just give it a shot and see if there's any other reason for me to be upset or disappointed in the performance or reliability of the machine. And that can only be done through actually using it. No benchmarks are going to provide us that kind of information. So we'll see how it plays out. So far, we're off to a good start. It's a shame to buy a brand new system and get all ticked off at it and want to just get rid of it. I don't like doing that. I like to learn as much as possible from different hardware. If it's causing me headaches, figure out workarounds for those headaches. But I've been so busy. It's like, oh, this is the last thing I need. What I need right now is for everything to just work, and then you know, be able to set stuff aside for later to, you know, look into resolutions to get around particular issues, if such resolutions are even available, which would make for great videos. But I have to have a machine working to make the videos, so you can understand my dilemma there. We were wondering why Nick Poverman was banned. Who banned? When was Nick Poverman banned? Kevin Perry says, used portable version of CCleaner instead of installing, and told them about storage since when she asked about CCleaner, said it would clean up her temp files every 3 days. Beautiful, perfect, good. How's the Cat 8 cable working? Oh, the cables are great, absolutely great. If anything, I ordered a longer cable. The cable I've got is fine. It's only got about 2 feet of slack. I like to have a little bit more slack than that. So I ordered a 25-footer, and but yeah, much better than my handmade cables. Yeah, much better. The ends, the way that they clip in and clip out is just a lot cleaner. And I haven't noticed any sort of data transmission improvement, but that's a good thing too, because that means I haven't noticed a degradation. But these are stranded wire cable versus solid core cable, so they're, you know, meant to be twisted and moved around a lot. And I've been using cable I buy off a 500-foot spool or 1,000-foot spool, and that's all cable designed to go in walls. So you install it once and the cable never moves. Sarah Sims banned Nick. Let me go and unban Nick right now. I know I banned Nick one time because he was getting on my nerves, telling me he likes to come into the chat and make all kinds of statements that are often false. He'll say, well, that's not compatible, that won't work, there's no drivers for this. And when I'm trying to work, I don't need a naysayer telling me what can't be done. It's an unnecessary distraction. But he did that on one particular day where it got on my nerves, and I banned him for the day so I could work focused. It made everything work that he said wouldn't work. Found drivers for things he said there weren't drivers for. And it got on my nerves that day. I wasn't having it that day. I don't know why people can't just watch the videos and just make comments about things they're seeing without being bosses, like without being what's the word? Armchair quarterbacks. But at the same time, there's been other times where Nick has offered advice and it's been helpful, but just needs to take it down a notch sometimes. But that being said, let me look in the community settings. That's the only reason I can think Sarah would have done that, because Sarah's a good person. I can't imagine that it was just done out of spite. That wouldn't make any sense. Let's see. It's a little different than the other day. That person come in and was saying that me replaying the live streams to make the chat room available and to show older videos to people who perhaps are new here was it was like he was trying to stir up people to agree with him that I was losing subscribers by doing that, and that's fine to say that, but he just kept going on and on and on. He wouldn't shut up about it. So I planned to ban him for the day, but then he created a second account and I banned that. And then he created a third account and I banned that. Sometimes when people, they get into a mood or they get into I don't know the right way to describe it, but they need a cooling off period. They need a timeout, and they need some time to reflect and find something else to occupy their brain power, to something to distract them away, because they latch on and they won't let go and they make it worse. The best thing you can do when something like that happens, if someone's pointing that out, like, hey, take it down a notch, sit on your hands, or walk away, turn the stream off, go find something else to do, come back another day. I have to do that sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, that's it. You guys have seen me on video where I'm just like, that's it, I'm out. I get so frustrated trying to get something to work, trying to force it to work, and then it's just like, I'll come at it tomorrow. I'm just not going to torture myself like this. Okay, so I was looking for Nick being banned here. Yeah, there's people that come in and they don't like the way I run my channel, and I didn't ask them, and I don't know why they think I value their opinion. If you're a friend of mine, if you're a big supporter of the channel, of course I value your opinion. But if you're just a stranger on the internet jumping into the channel to tell me how terrible I am, I don't know what you think is going to happen, and I don't know why what's going through their head where anybody would care. It's just weird. So, they get blocked. But it's just like, the people that know this channel know the intent of it, and they know I am not trying to show anybody up. I just am trying to build a community here of friendly people that support one another. And when somebody comes in like that, it poisons the well, is what I call it. They start to stir disdain, and it's just not welcome here. They have their own YouTube channel where they are very welcome to say anything they want to. They can fire up a camera just like me, and nobody can stop them from saying whatever they want to say. So the idea that they think they have a right to come into my channel and do that is messed up. It's just messed up. I don't know these people. I didn't do anything to them. So I don't know what motivates them other than boredom and loneliness. I'm just trying to find Nick on the list here. Oh, there he is. Okay, so Nick should not be banned anymore. And I'm going to remove Sarah as a moderator until her and I have a talk, because I don't want my moderators banning anybody unless what they're doing is impersonating me. If you're seeing somebody claiming to be me in the chat and you know it's not me, go ahead and ban them. Or if somebody's being vulgar, just intentionally vulgar, then you can ban them. But otherwise, I just want you to bring it to my attention and let me handle it. And that's the, you know, if you really want to help me, that would be, it would be helpful to me. I'm just looking right now for Sarah in my list here. It's interesting to me that this is the time of year when we're all supposed to be friendly and kind to one another, and it just seems to bring out a nastiness from some people. So. Sarah said it was a mistake. Well, Sarah and I need to talk, because if Sarah, look, as a mod, if you, this is one of the reasons why the safest thing for you to do as a mod is to do nothing other than just bring it to my attention. Because if you make a mistake and ban somebody when you didn't mean to, you're costing me viewers, you're harming my channel, and you're supposed to be helping me. So the first thing you need to do is send me an email or reach out to me and send me a message and go, I just accidentally made this, you know, I made this mistake, so I can correct it immediately. This is the first I've heard about this. I would have corrected it if I had known right away. So, so Sarah made a mistake twice. First was the mistake she made. The second mistake was not telling me she made the mistake until it was brought up to me by other people. So look, everybody's allowed to make mistakes. It's how we handle our mistakes. So, you know, own up to it, take responsibility for it, and let's make it right ASAP. Don't wait. The damage gets worse the longer you wait. So apologize to Nick for that inconvenience, and hopefully he'll join us in future streams. Okay, what am I missing in the chat? Brett says, I don't understand people at times. If you don't like the channel, then don't watch it. It's that simple. Yeah, I agreed, Brett. See, stuff like that, that's moderator type comments right there. So I'm gonna make you a moderator, Brett. That's the kind of attitude I wanna see. Nobody was asked to watch the videos. I didn't ask the person to come in to watch the videos. I didn't ask the person to give me their critical you know, opinion of how I'm destroying my own channel. And the person who's making the comments doesn't have a channel, but apparently they know how to make one and they know everything about it, and they're gonna let me know that they know that. It's very strange. It's very strange. But this is part of dealing with a community. My goal, and it's a lofty goal, it's ambitious, and that's to create a community where everybody is supportive with each other. And it's gonna take a bit of education, a bit of training. I expect some people are gonna click and they're gonna get it and they're gonna become a part of it. And other people are just never going to get it, and they'll just be banned, and that's the way it'll be. That's why I generally make it a rule to go through the ban list once or twice a year and clear it out and give people a second chance. But I don't tell them. You know, when I ban somebody, it doesn't prevent them from watching my videos. It just prevents them from participating in the chat during the live streams or leaving any comments. Because if somebody doesn't have anything useful to add, that I'm not missing anything by blocking them. So I'm hoping that some of these people will realize what got them blocked. They can still enjoy the videos. Their participation in the chat is not required. It's purely voluntary, and I enjoy when people chat in a friendly and supportive nature. If you guys want to talk about the latest hardware, I'll tell you something. There was a Linus Tech Tips video. And, you know, I come down on these other channels a little bit in pointing out that they are enthusiasts. They're not working techs. And I don't come down on them in the sense that their stuff is bad or anything like that. It's very well produced. In fact, it's much more professional than my videos. But the stuff that they do is often not very practical at all. But I'm not going to say everything they do isn't practical. Just a lot of it is just stuff as a working technician no company would ever pay you to do. This is just like people that are bored and have money just sitting around trying to figure out how to squander their precious time here on Earth until they die. I just can't condone that. It's fine that they love technology and they want to share technology with others and enjoy that passion, but I can't get on board with wasting time with stuff that ultimately doesn't have any return on the investment, you know, or the investment's bigger than the return. Anyway, so Linus did a great video. He did a video that I would do, honestly. He bought 4 machines. He got a machine from Dell and a machine from, he got a Walmart machine, he got an HP machine, he got an iBuyPower machine, and an Origin PC. Gaming PCs, they were all $1,500, I think, in this last video that he did. There were 4 of them that were $1,500 a piece, showing what you get for your money. And, you know, he brought up a lot of points that I hadn't considered. Some of the stuff he brought up was kind of silly and kind of didn't really matter. But that being said, he brought up some very valid points as well, which is when you're buying a pre-built machine, not only do you have the concern of, you know, the fact that it wasn't really built with pride, it was sort of slapped together, usually in an assembly line, but you're often getting old software. You know, he had a machine that he bought that had Windows 1703 on it. And, you know, it's understandable that the software may be a few weeks old. Oh, I think I got a spammer. Let me see. Hello?
Open enrollment has passed, but luckily, it doesn't mean you'll be without coverage this year. New laws in place still allow you to get an affordable health insurance plan from an A-rated insurer at a price that you and your family can afford. Press 1 now to speak to a licensed insurance agent.
Thank you for your interest in healthcare. Looking for an individual or a family plan?
I'm going to call the number right back. I'm going to call that same number right back. The reason I didn't say anything is it's sort of like, all right, you wasted my time, a little bit of my time. I'm going to waste a little bit of your time back. Then I feel like we're even. But I'm going to just return the call.
The number or code and try again.
Now, is that a business that you want to buy healthcare from? I don't. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a scam call. Interestingly enough, it was clearly an American on the other end of the phone, but the behavior was the same as a scam call. So anyway, so Linus Tech Tips did this video. Let's see if I can put a link to it, because I thought it was really well done. He made some points such as video drivers were 6 months out of date, although with NVIDIA, you know you're going to have to update your video driver anyway. Heck, I build a machine and ship it out, and the customer gets it a week later, and there's a new NVIDIA driver. But when there are that many versions behind, it's a little ridiculous. And this particular video was picked up by a publication, and so let's see. Yeah, I think this is it. Is it the Final Verdict video? PC Secret Shopper, published Christmas Day? Yeah, this is the video. So I'm going to copy the link here and I'll put it in the chat room. I could do without the stupid white lab coats and glasses and gloves. That's just stupid. But the content of what he's saying shouldn't be dismissed because of the silliness of the way he presented it. And that is, not only was the software old, you know, in one machine it took him over an hour to get the machine out. There were issues that I never even thought of, where he just looks at how much RAM is being used when the machine's turned on with nothing running. I would never have thought to even do that. It was interesting to see the Dell machine running at twice the memory consumption at idle with no applications running. You know, how does that happen? Clearly, wipe and reinstall is in order on a brand new machine. And then, of course, there was issues with regards to cables not being plugged in or cable management not being done well. But also what he brought up, which I thought was a very good point, are the limited controls in the BIOS of all of these systems. Now, two of the systems, I think the Origin PC and the, what was the other one I said? Origin and, CyberPower or iBuyPower, one of those, were using MSI motherboards and didn't do anything to them. He was expecting profiles to be saved for overclocking and stuff, but I imagine they don't spend that much time building them, so I can't imagine they don't spend much time tweaking them to figure out the best profiles. I imagine. There are other higher end gaming companies that do that. I think Falcon Northwest does that. There's some real high end specialty companies that do that. One of the machines he looked at was $1,500, was a Core i5. So look, these companies, they're not charities. They have to make a profit, but that seemed to be a bit excessive of profit, charging somebody that much to get so little in return. And that's the harm in ignorance. People think education costs a lot of money. Try ignorance. It can be even more money when people are buying this machine under the assumption that they're getting something that's better than what they can build. But on top of that, when you look at these Dells, these HPs, their BIOS is locked down. There's nothing you can do in there. It's actually, they don't want you in there. Dell and HP absolutely would remove the BIOS, I'm convinced. If they could, they would just remove it and go, look, you got a problem, you call us, you don't go in there. That's an Apple move all day long. But yes, so kudos to Linus for those guys. Apparently they bought the machines, which is good, because if you're sent the machines as a sponsorship deal, you got to be careful about how you present critical, information that's critical. And so by them buying these machines, they're able to then be objective, truly objective with what they expect and what they see. So it was a series of videos, and I just watched the final one there. I'll have to go back and watch the others because now I'm interested. It's probably one of the best videos Linus Tech Tips has made to date, in my opinion. Tony Wallows contributed $1.99 and says, happy holidays. Oh, thank you, Tony, and happy holidays to you as well. And I think there was another one. Yeah, Harry Sorensen's contributed $5. I love your comments as much as your technical expertise. I just built a fast i5 system with a 1 terabyte NVMe. Sounds great. Harry, and Harry, you are a moderator now. Thank you so much for both of you for contributing and supporting the channel. I see Shane Schellenberger's joined us. Thank you, Shane. Happy holidays to you. Stephen Barber's contributed $2. He says, your videos rock. Keep rocking on. Rock on, Stephen. Rock on. Make sure Stephen's a moderator here. Sarah says, yes, please remove me as a mod. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, that's the thing. As a mod, you don't have to do anything. That's the beauty of it. You're not obligated. The reason you're a mod is so I recognize you as a friend. That's all, because I see your name in blue and I know that you're a supporter of the channel. That's not to say if your name isn't in blue that you're not a supporter of the channel. It just means I haven't recognized you as such yet. So I hate to remove that status from Sarah because I know she's a great supporter, and but if she's afraid she's going to start, causing harm by clicking on things, well, then I will remove you. But I mean, as a mod, but I just don't want to. I'd rather not. Bill Leatherman says, you need a chief mod, Carey. Okay, Bill, you want to take on that job? Carey, do you like root beer? Root beer's okay. I drink root beer once or twice a year. It's I don't know, something I have to get in the mood for, I guess. Do you know what a Sinclair C5 is? Well, when I was a teenager, there was these electronics books, magazines that you could buy, and they would advertise the Sinclair computer that you could build it yourself. I'm trying to remember. I want to say it was $99.95. They send you a box of parts and you build it yourself, or it was $149.95 to have it built, shipped to you already built. And then a deal got made with Timex, and it became Timex Sinclair, and they started offering these there was a little tiny computer, it's about yay big, had a little flat touch keyboard on it, and I didn't even bother messing with them because they were so underpowered and so horrible. But they would sell them at Kmart and stuff like that, next to the Texas Instruments TI-99, Commodore VIC-20, things like that. That was that area of time. So I'm assuming that C5 was just another name for the Timex Sinclair. I don't know, though. DJ Matrix says, Carey, as an advanced user in tech, I love the community you have on here. The content isn't for me, but I enjoy watching and listening in the background. Well, that's nothing wrong with that. I see Jay Toy and Tim Burchard has joined us, and Daryl Hulls, Wim, VDK, Richard Barrow, John Peck, Kevin Perry. Welcome in, guys. Good to see you. And Brett Kennedy, Perry Dubs, Seth Harris, Chunkier Fish, John Paul Bacon, Solo, Platter Jockey, Robert Jones, Chuck Wolf. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Mastermind said, this is like being in a tech class. It has always been my intention to treat this as a classroom. And so when somebody's disrupting the class, I eject them from the classroom. I mean, that's just the way I've always seen it. But I want it to be an interactive classroom, but interactive in the sense that we're all going after the same goal. We don't have somebody trying to change the subject or somebody's trying to start a coup. I don't know. I don't want to start to rebel against. I don't know. But yes, this is intended to be educational, but at the same time, I try to make it fun. I try to add some humor in it, try to remove some of the serious nature. You know, it's one of the things that turns me off with Linus Tech Tips, putting the white lab coat on, making it seem as if you have to be somebody of that level of education that would be in a field that requires a white lab coat. Generally, people that wear white lab coats are people with higher levels of degrees if a white lab coat is required in what you do for a living, unless I suppose you're a butcher. But even then, you know, even though you can become a butcher without any formal education, well, let's not undermine also the level of knowledge that butchers have, knowing which cuts of meat are which. I mean, if I brought a big side of cow, could you tell me where the T-bone is and where the filet mignon is and where the... It's quite a bit of knowledge there. So in any event, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but I am saying that I just don't like this idea that to know this stuff requires an extraordinary education. This stuff is incredibly simple. And the days of white lab coat wearing employees working with this stuff was over before I was born. You know, they weren't even doing that in the 70s. So maybe it's done tongue-in-cheek, but I think a lot of people still feel, sort of like when you go to a courtroom and a judge generally sits up higher than everybody else. That's done on purpose. It's to make you feel smaller. That person's in charge. That person sits up higher. That person's calling the shots. That person demands respect, and they want to just, it's a sort of a subtle, I don't know how subtle it is, but it's something that you'll see it on talk shows where the talk show host sits in a chair that's higher up than the guest, and it's a way of displaying power. And what I'm trying to do is equalize all that and say, look, you don't need any power. You just need to have ambition. You have to have desire. You have to have the motivation from within. I can't give that to you. But if you want to learn it, I can teach anybody who wants to learn. I just can't make somebody want to learn. A C5 was an electric-driven trike. Adam Reynolds says, thanks for convincing me to build my own PC. It's a Ryzen 5 2400G with an MSI B450 Gaming Pro Carbon AC and two 4 gig, only went with 2 4 gig sticks of RAM, 3000 megahertz from Corsair. I had to do 2 hours of troubleshooting. Yeah, what was wrong with it? What did you troubleshoot? That's the most interesting part, is when things go wrong and you have to troubleshoot. Will there be a Tech Vets tomorrow? There is supposed to be a Tech Vets. I need to look at the hold on, let me look at my calendar real quick just to verify. I think it's tomorrow. Take a quick look. Yes. Yeah, we're planning on doing Tech Vets tomorrow. It's going to be at 6 o'clock my time, which is 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern in the evening. And Mike wants to broadcast that through his channel on twitch.tv. I guess he's not using Ustream anymore. He mentions he's got a surgery coming up with his foot, and when they do that surgery, he won't be able to walk on his foot for 6 weeks. So, Mike's a kind of guy who's go, go, go. He's nonstop. I don't know how he's gonna. Maybe they'll get him one of those scooters he can put his leg on, and he can. I don't know. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, thank you for reminding me. There will be a new Tech Vets, tech-vets.com. There will be a new episode. We'll be airing it live. Again, it'll be 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Phoenix. Tim wants to know what my agenda for today is. Well, I wanted to put this little Mini-ITX system together. It's only going to take a minute. Sinclair ZX81, yes, that's what it was called. That was from Barry Almond there. Barry, that's moderator status for you. And Juan Mendez makes a fine comment here. Make you a moderator as well, Juan. Gary McGraw says, Carey, I donated $5 on Tech Vets. Well, thank you, Gary. Ustream no longer free, now an IBM service. Oh, well, that explains that. Adam says that one of the problems they had to resolve was the power switch was reversed from what I was used to, so I was trying to turn on the PC while the power supply was off. Oh, well, that's a pretty easy troubleshooting. What else? Then there was a RAM seating issue, but the debug LEDs decided not to work. Yeah, you can't count on debug LEDs. You gotta, this is your debug LED right here, and it sounds like you got it figured out. RAM not seated properly is very common. Power supply being in the off position, that's common. It's also common where people forget to put on that 4-pin or 8-pin CPU power connector, or they forget to plug their monitor into the right video output. So if you've got a built-in video and your motherboard has a built-in HDMI port, and then you've added your own separate graphics card, which of course has its own HDMI port, you plug into the wrong HDMI port. But those are the lessons that stay with you. So I'm glad you had that experience. I'm glad you stuck with it, figured it out, and now you know better for next time. You probably won't make these mistakes twice. Winston Ang Liu has contributed $5 Canadian. He says, your home-built PC is like building your own jet fighter. Well, it can be. Not everybody has the money to afford that, but you can still, you can still enjoy the same sense of accomplishment and the same thrill of building. It doesn't have to be high-end, expensive components. It doesn't have to be a jet fighter. You know, it can be an old biplane. You know, it could be a bicycle. You know, it could be something that just what suits you, what's best for you, what you can afford, what, you know, that the experience you have is still going to be the same. It's still going to be this great sense of accomplishment regardless. Gary Kane has contributed $10. He says, built thanks to you, who's built 4 machines thanks to me. Troubleshooting is humbling and the best learning experience. Yes, I get humbled a lot. Nick says, I can't put the link in chat. Here, let me make you a mod. I'm going to make you a mod, Nick, but I'm telling you, man, don't make me regret this. Edward Green says, I upgraded my friend's PC with more memory and replacing the mechanical disks with SSD and started to get crashes. Turned out memory had to be reseated. Yeah, very common. Sergio Cochit says, hello, greetings from Lisbon. Oh, very cool. Watching us in Spain. Or is that Portugal? Lisbon. I'm so American sometimes. Kevin says, I've got my items in the shopping cart at Newegg. I just can't pull the trigger yet until I have more money to pay for it. And then you'll have more money to pay for it and something will be out of stock. You watch, that always happens. Magni Johansson's contributed 33 Norwegian krona. Thank you, Magni. Or Magna. Tim Burchard says he's planning on a big build here pretty soon. He's got a $3,000 build of an i7 8700K, 32 gigs of RAM, a 1080 Ti, a 1 terabyte 970 Evo, waiting for taxes. Yeah, sounds good. The Sinclair C5 is an electric pedal-powered vehicle. Okay, I don't really see much of that here in Phoenix. Which is better, if the X470 Asus or Gigabyte? I'm not liking any X470 at this point, but you know, that's based on what I need it to do. And it's just not, it's a disappointment for me. I'd rather do a B450 or 450-ish. Lisbon is Portugal, is Phoenix in Canada. That's fair. You know what? That's fair. Yeah, you know, if I can dish it, I can take it. For some reason, I keep thinking Lisbon is in Spain, but when I said it out loud, I went, no, it's in Portugal. And you know, I obviously I've never been there, because I'm sure if I'd been there, I'd never forget it. Matthew Barnes says, Carey, I upgraded to the SID, the CPU cooler today, and wish I'd done it a long time ago. It's so good. Yeah, not only is it good, it's super easy to install. Did you do the Mugen 5? Is that the one you used? Magnus says, I'd pay Carey every day to hear my name in American. It's so much cooler than in Norwegian. I wish I could hear how you pronounced it. Because I know Magnus is a pretty common name in that part of the world. But Magna or Magni, it's a cool name. Your doorbell is barking. You think I couldn't hear it? Carey, who makes the shirt that you got for Christmas? I usually get the shirts from one of 2 places. That shirt is a place I don't think I'm going to order from them anymore, so I really don't want to promote them. The place where I've been getting my shirts now is called daddyos.com. The other place was where I started initially finding the shirts, and they are just too expensive. They charged my card, and then they didn't ship my shirt for 2 weeks. And I was like, wasn't a shirt supposed to arrive? And I'm looking through my email. Yeah, I did order a shirt. And then I had to email them. I said, what's the status of my order? And they said, oh, it's on back order. We're going to get them in a few days, and then we'll ship it out when we receive it. Well, I think a company that's charging, you know, $60 to $80 for a single shirt should know their inventory. They should tell me it's out of stock. And if it's a mistake where the computer had inventory when in fact they didn't, then they should email me immediately and say, we just received your order. The product you've ordered is out of stock, but is expected to come in on this date. Would you like to wait, or do you want to cancel your order? because they didn't do that, because they waited for me to contact them, I don't want to do business with them anymore. I'm just done with them. Also, their selection of shirts has gone right down the tubes. They were carrying the Charlie Sheen line of shirts. Those shirts look like a Charlie Sheen shirt because the label on them says Charlie Sheen. And then when Charlie Sheen had his meltdown, they discounted those shirts. And when they discounted them, those shirts were, you know, like I say, $60 to $80 or $90 a piece. At some point, they were 70% off. And I'm like, oh, I'm buying every one I can get at that price. I don't care what the guy's personal problems are. I like the shirts. And after that, they just kind of shifted their inventory to other stuff. And so I can't, like I said, I can't recommend them anymore. But I'm happy to have found Daddy-O's. And daddyos.com has some great inventory, I think. And their shipping was fast. And I'll probably be buying some more from them in the future when they get some new stuff in. I have everything I want from them at this point. Ben says he sent me $100 via PayPal. Wow, that's very generous, Ben. Thank you so much. Apparently today's show is sponsored by Ben Decor. Thank you, Ben. Paul 1961 says, I did send $5 Canadian. Chat went by so fast. Did I miss a contribution or was that through TechVets? Let me, you know what? I can look at a different part here. Let's see. Magni Johansson is 33 Norwegian krona. Gary Kane, $10. Winston A. Lou, 5 Canadian. Oh, there's Paul, 1961, 5 Canadian dollars. Fantastic videos, like always, he says. There's another one I missed. Michael Ryu? He says it's pronounced R-E-E-U, but I don't know how R-E-E-U is pronounced. Is that Ryu? Michael Ryu. Am I saying it right? He's contributed 10 Canadian dollars, and Tony Wello, $1.99. Harry Sorensen, $5. Stephen Barber, $2. Tony G, $5. And Gary Wall was the first contribution during today's live stream, $2.79 Canadian. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Ryu, meet Magna, Ryu. I'll get it all figured out one day. It's very generous of you, Ben. Thank you so much. So you guys in the chat, you got to appreciate these people that are giving these generous contributions, because I'm telling you, what YouTube pays isn't enough for me to live off of. But with the contributions coming in, it's making it possible. And it's, you know, you guys got to know it's not me, it's them. And be sure to show them a little, you know, thank you or high five, whatever. They deserve that recognition. Let me go grab a computer case and see if I can slap something together here real quick. I think I'm going to give this, Mike's got a daughter and she needs a computer, and this is that Core i3 that was a Z77 chipset that I put in the train build. How many years ago was that? It's way too slow for me. But for somebody who, you know, just wants to browse the web and use the computer like a normal person, it's going to be better than fine. It'll be better than anything HP and Dell sells for sure. Let me grab a case. I think I'm going to grab one of those Silverstone cases. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is a problem. The machines that I build, you know, they last longer than their useful life. In other words, I've got machines that I built 12, 15 years ago that are still running fine today, but they have no use. They're just too slow and too underpowered. But they work, you know, they work as good today as they did back then. They're just too underpowered to be useful to anybody. So, I mean, I'm proud of it, but I think what a shame. I realize there's people out there that can use machines for proprietary purpose, like turning it into like a NAS or a firewall. But customers that order those, they don't know how to do that, nor would they know what to do with it even if they had it. Okay, that's the feet down there. There we go. So this is what? The Silverstone PS11. It's going to be a pretty big case for this motherboard, but it's a cheap case and it's a cheap motherboard, so in that sense they go together. Winston Anglews contributed $5 Canadian. He says, building an Intel PC is like building a Gulfstream jet. Okay. I'm not quite sure what it's like to build a Gulfstream jet, but we'll just take your word for it. But it is fun. Building a PC is fun. I'm just looking through comments right now just to see what I missed while I stepped out of the room here. No, it's not a bad looking case. It's just flimsy and cheap. You know, it's one of those cases that it's all about the looks and not about the quality. And Silverstone is really known for their quality. I was looking through some Christmas cards you guys had sent because Eddie Sawyer's there in the chat says he sent me one, but I never got it. So maybe it just hasn't arrived yet. I just wanted to double check just to make sure I wasn't lying. All right, let me get the side panels off of this. Unforsaken Gaming has contributed $2 to the channel. He says, thank you, Carey, and God bless you. Well, thank you. Thank you for, again, for continuing to support the channel. There we go. Now this one has foam pads in it to keep the machine quieter, but it's not much. I mean, honestly, this is something that you could DIY with any case. You just buy this foam. You can even see the glue stuck back here behind it. So it's not exactly a nice, clean job, unfortunately. I do like that the screws are captured by the case panel, so you don't have to worry about misplacing them. Always a fan of that. And of course that panel also has that little bit of foam in there. It doesn't really seem like it's much foam. I don't know how much noise it's going to help prevent. But this won't be a loud system that even requires that to begin with. We got a cheap fan, just a 3-pin fan. They put it on the front rather than on the back, which I absolutely do not agree with. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and remove that fan because it's just a cheap junk fan. That's also got the foam on it as well. Let's get this fan out of here. Apparently, that ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to take the whole thing off. It looks like this just pulls straight off. With these cheap cases, you gotta be careful because you can break the plastic so easily and then the bezel will never sit flush on there again once that happens. So, you know, it requires a bit of force to get it off, but not so much that you break the plastic. Something's holding it in right here. This scares me because I'm so afraid of breaking it. I just want to take the fan out, that's all I want to do. Come on. Shouldn't be this hard. Yeah, they just look like little plastic posts. And it's just a friction fit. So it's really easy to break those little plastic posts. And then we got a wire tie that's holding these front port umbilicals on that's preventing me from moving the bezel up any higher. So let's get that out of the picture. I just need to get this out of the way for a moment so I can get this fan out. Now, unfortunately, this fan looks to be a 140 millimeter and that fan looks to be a 120, so it's not like I can just move it. But let me just verify that. There we go. Unless you've got a graphics card in here, there's no reason to have a front fan at all. But if I was going to have a front fan, it would only be after I've had a rear fan first. So better to have a rear fan if you've got a choice than a front fan. Unless, like I say, you've got a graphics card or you've got multiple drives, like down in the drive bay, if you had a lot of drives, mechanical drives, they can get hot. Just one mechanical drive will have enough airflow around it, but when you stack them on top of each other, then they can trap the heat and they'll run a bit hot, and so having a fan blow air over them is always a good idea. This will be a very basic, simple build, and it looks like I didn't break anything, which is always good. And I think this fan, let's see, is it going to fit back here? Or can we just repurpose it? Yeah, that ain't going to happen. Way too big. Way too big. So let me see what I have for fans here in the back. I should have a smaller one back here I can use. Really don't even need to have it, to be honest. A rear fan is not required. Maybe that is a 120. What does that mean? It's an 80 in the back? I don't think I've got an 80 millimeter fan. Well, we're not going to put a fan on it. I think it's an 80 millimeter fan. Because I think what I pulled out was a 120. Yeah, that's got to be 80. Okay, well, regardless. So I can put this back. There's some talk about the Deep Cool Gamer Storm case. There's been a lot of issues with the pumps breaking and those things leaking that I read. I would read the reviews if I were you. See what people say in the reviews on that case. Oh, let's see, what else have I missed here? Randy Harris has contributed $9.99. He says, I so enjoy your channel, Carey. It's resulted in 2 computer builds so far. Awesome. Why aren't you a moderator? You are now. All right, let me see if I can get back to work here. Rick says, Carey, you're generous looking for another fan since you're just going to give it away. Well, what good is having the parts if I don't use them? They're just sitting back there on a shelf. I'd rather somebody got benefit from it. That's the whole point of even having the old parts laying around. It's just this scenario right here. The fans don't hold any value to me. All right, let's go ahead and put the I/O shield in here. And these Mini-ITX systems are so easy to put together when you're building in a big case. If you're building in a Mini-ITX case, then it's a real challenge because of the space, the tight space that you work within. But we're gonna need a we're gonna need a motherboard standoff in each corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4. No motherboard standoffs are pre-installed, which means they've got to be in the bag that came with the case. Oh yeah, they even give us a few nylon zip ties here. And you may sometimes see a device like this included with your case, and that's designed for being used to lock, to physically put a lock to prevent people from opening the computer. This was done in the workplace where people were stealing RAM and stuff out of their workplace computers, and companies requested the manufacturers give them a way to secure the case. It was often done with using security bits, security screws. When I was in the IT department at the power company, we had a special bit we had to have with us to open up some of the computers. The newer computers all had these security bits on them. And I've never seen any place use locks before, but I've seen the locks available as an option, but I've never actually seen anybody, I've never seen any corporation, I should say, use them. Never saw any individual use them either, but an individual doesn't usually lock their own computer from themselves. Although I suppose if you were in a roommate situation where your roommate was a bit sketchy. But yeah. In reality, I really don't see anybody use them in either case. So I've got to guess this one's going to go here. Carey, your video freezes periodically. We'll have to just kind of watch that and see. That may be something to do with the Ryzen build. I don't know. Could be the internet connection too. Is anybody else seeing any freezing at all? Could be on your end, Shane. Could have something running in the background on your computer. Computer could be getting an update in the background. Something you may not even have kicked off knowingly. Something the computer may have just done on its own. Maybe try turning it off and on again. Okay, so there's my 4 standoffs. Now let me grab the board and we'll slap that in here real quick. Did the standoffs line up? They do. That's good. Looks like they just give us a bunch of the same screw, so I'm guessing that must be the screw we use, huh? Oh, well maybe not. Let me see. I have a coarse thread and a thin thread. These motherboard Standoffs usually want the coarse thread. Yep, that's what it is. All right, one more, just takes 4 screws. Like I say, 1 in each corner on Mini-ITX. That's what the standard calls for. And so every Mini-ITX motherboard should be the same. I will say that this case is quite difficult to get at because they put the top too close to the top of the motherboard, and so to get a screwdriver down in there is a bit of a trick. I think I'm gonna have to use my manual screwdriver with this really long bit on it in order to have the extension I need. Let's try it this way. This is a 6-inch magnetic Phillips No. 2 extension. And so what's happening is the screwdriver is hitting the edge of the case, and it needs to go more this way to get to the mounting screw. And it's just a not a very thoughtful case design. But Silverstone, in all fairness, they make, I think they have over 100 case designs available for sale. But this is really disappointing. Sometimes when a case is really pretty, it's hard to work on, and that's the price you pay for the particular look of a case. But this case is cheap, there's nothing special about it, and the fact that they made it difficult to work inside of like this is just horrible. You know, they could have made up for the cheap quality by making it super easy to work on, you know, so you'd have something to offset, you know, to make it okay, to say, okay, well, it may not be perfect, but at least it can do this, or, you know, at least it's easy to work on. I'm just using the bit and turning it by hand at this point because I just can't figure out a way to get in there. That's really bad. It's almost to the point where it's selfish. It's like the engineer doesn't even care what suffering your builder's going to go through. For everybody who buys that case, it's like a big middle finger. And why would you do that to your customer? Now, Silverstone did send me these cases for free, but I cannot recommend these particular Silverstone cases. But for a system like this, it's going to go to somebody for free, and the person's not a power user. They just need a way to basically just get online and, you know, do basic internet stuff. It'll do its job. It'll support the parts that are in there, but, you know, all they had to do was make this top another 1/4 inch higher, and it would have avoided that whole scenario. It's just bad design. I blame the engineer, and I blame management who approved the design. So there's 2 people at least to blame. And that's how small that's going to look in there. It's tiny. And Winston's contributed again, Canadian $5. Intel PCs, Eurofighter, Boeing-made jets are all reliable products. Okay. We're still talking about jets, apparently. Oh, thank you, Winston. Thanks for contributing to the channel. Geez, should I put a DVD drive in here? I don't think she's going to need one. Or will she? I probably should put one in there. I suspect a user like this might just need an optical drive. Optical drives are cheap now. They're about, if you get them on sale, they're $15. If you pay full price, it should be around $21, $20. And then we can secure that. Because this computer will be moved, it's going to have to be transported to the customer. So we want to make sure that that won't break free. So we can at least use one screw. You know what? Give me my driver back. And that's going to be the thin thread screws or the fine threaded screws that go into the optical drive. There we go. Probably need one on the other side too. Well, the other side will take two. Let's use them. We got them. Might as well use them. It's a bit overkill, but that's okay. I don't anticipate this computer will be upgraded. Like I say, the needs, the person this is being built for does not have demanding needs. Just want to be able to get on the internet. Yeah, there we go. It's looking good. Oh, I guess I'm going to need a power supply, aren't I? Let's see what I can do for a power supply. Oh, perfect. Perfect. EVGA had these 450 watt power supplies for like 20 bucks. I think they were $20. It's in a weird box too. But this is perfect for a system like this. Remember, everything in balance. We're not gonna throw a 1,000 watt power supply on an older system like this. That would be silly. Nor would we wanna use this on a $1,000 processor. Although we could, just wouldn't be a good idea. It's not a good, fair, level matching, you know. $20. I can't believe the quality of a power supply you can get today for $20. The $20 power supplies I was buying back in the early 2000s, just junk. These $20 power supplies are so much better. If you see that 80 plus indicator on any power supply, that makes it twice as good, at least, than any other power supply that doesn't have that indicator on it. Because it just requires better components in order to achieve that efficiency rating. There's the screws for the power supply right there. And the way they've jammed that into the box is kind of interesting. But hey, whatever gets the price down, I'm all for it. There's the instructions nobody's gonna read. That's it. No frills. EVGA 450BR. Has that new power supply smell. And we'll put that down here like so. And I'm going to lock this driver so I can turn these screws a little bit more than what I tighten everything else to. Okay. Switch is in the off position, which is where I want it to be. I want to make sure we can see everything through here. I should have actually done that before I secured the motherboard down, but I'm just going to check it now since it occurs to me that I didn't check it earlier. Now, as far as cable management in this case, it's really not going to be possible. The panel is just that far away from the motherboard tray. So, you know, even these cables right here, it's going to be tight with these cables right here. So what I'm going to do, and this case doesn't have a window on it anyway, is I'm going to go ahead and just run the cables direct, and I'll just do my best to use a zip tie to tie them all together and kind of either, well, I can't tie them down here because there's a fan filter in the way, but I'll just get a bundle right in the middle just to keep it from rattling around, to keep them all in one place and not impede any airflow. This is CPU power, so this can go right here. See if we can fold one down, put the other one right there. And then this is main motherboard power here. That's for powering a video card, although with 450 watts, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. What else do we have? This is motherboard power. And that's got to go, where is it? All the way on the top. Of course it is. And it's so dark in there, I can barely see it. It's a horrible location for the power connector. And again, because they didn't give us enough space between the top of the case and the top of the board, it makes it very difficult to fit that on there. I'm gonna have to get a flashlight. I just can't see it. I try and feel for it, you know, try and reach in there and see if I can feel it, but yeah, I mean, holy smokes. It's so close to the top of the case, it's practically touching the top of the case. That's insane. How this was approved for manufacture at Silverstone is beyond me, because they are so much better than this. They really are. This is surprisingly bad for Silverstone. Yeah, I don't even know how you're supposed to reach your finger in there to release the clip. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy for that power connector to hit the top of the board, the top of the case. I don't know how well you guys can see that. It's bad. Bad, bad, bad. All right. So yeah, these will get zip tied up sort of like this and out of the way. And then this one's sort of interwoven, so I want to remove that for just an overall cleaner look. But I can't have these hanging like this. They could hit that fan. But if I tie these two together like that, this should kind of keep it over. And then I'll just bundle the rest of these up like this. You know, once everything's hooked up, this will get all zip tied together in one big bundle, nice and neat. Storage, what am I going to use for storage? Can give the optical drive some power. And it's going to need a SATA cable. All right, so all we have left then, oh, front port umbilical stuff, we can do that and get it out of the way. This is USB 3. And USB 3 on this board is, where is it? Where is it? Right up here. The most convenient place, of course, he said sarcastically. Yeah, that's USB 3. Yeah, cable management is not going to be good on this. What else do we have to hook up? Audio. Where's the audio? Audio's still going to be on the lower left. So that should go. Oh, that's not audio, is it? Where's my audio? Oh, that was audio. It's just next to another connector. That's why it confused me. I think it did that to me when I installed this board on the other case. The last time I installed it, I think that threw me off then. It threw me off again. And then we've got the front port power switch, reset switch, power LED, and all that goes way up next to the motherboard power connector up here. So let's see, what do we start with here? It appears to be upside down and backwards on this board. Just based on the way the board looks, it looks like the hard drive LED is going to go on the top instead of going on the, it goes on the top right instead of the bottom left. Could be wrong about this, but that's what it looks like. And that would mean the power LED would go below that. Positive. And negative. I thought this case would be easier to work on because how much bigger it is, but the fact that they've lowered that lid so far, it makes it very difficult with the combination of this particular motherboard being used in it. And then the reset switch will go next. Which is that? Is that the blue one? That's power. So the gray one is reset. So reset plugs in next to the hard drive LED. So it's easy work. It's just hard to get at it. It's hard to reach it. I think I got it. And then finally the power switch. Okay. That's enough for me to be able to test fire it. So why don't we do that now before I go any further. And I should be able to plug this into the back of the streaming computer without the streaming computer glitching on me like the Threadripper was doing. So let's find out if we have a repeat of that little performance here. We're going to plug that in right now. No, no problem. And then we'll plug it in here. And then I need to give it some power. Power, power, power. Right here. Bubble wrap. I'll plug it into the kilowatt meter. I'm just going to leave this kilowatt meter plugged in. Kind of curious. I'll flip the switch to on, hit the power button. I'm not hooking up a keyboard and mouse at this point. Fan is spinning. Let's go to the other video input. Okay, let's see what we get, if we get anything at all. No bootable device. Very good. All right. It's dead quiet. That's a good sign. Power light is on the front, right up here. Okay, very good. Whoops. Sorry about that. That was supposed to be turned off. Okay, so I need a solid state drive to put in here. Or do I? I got a couple 1 terabyte mechanical drives I could throw in here. But that's just going to come back to me in time, isn't it? Because they will fail. Let me see what I've got that I can use. Well, I'm going to the old place. I got to go to the new place. Let's see. What do I have? What do I have? Well, rats. I've got this Team 480 gig. I've got a Samsung 500. The 64 gig is not going to cut it. This is a Samsung 830. This one's pretty old. We'll use this one. I think this was an old... oh, wait a minute. That's going to be too small. That's only 128 gigs. No. 128 just isn't going to cut it. I think we're going to use the Team... I hate to use this. This is still pretty new. I mean, I can just stick a 1 terabyte mechanical drive in there, but I know that mechanical drive is going to fail sooner or later, and this computer is going to come back for a repair. If I put a solid state drive in, I probably won't see the computer ever again. That's just how reliable they are. What do I want to do? Yeah, I'll use the Team. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Can't make up my mind. I don't want to put 2 hard drives in here. That's 2 points of failure. Remember, this is going to be a pretty simple user. You know, the needs that the user has are pretty simple. And if you tell the user to save data on a D drive, their eyes are going to glaze over and go, I don't know what that means. So I just want to avoid that. And I also am not going to give them a terabyte SSD. I'm not going to do that. But if I had a 256, that would be acceptable. But I'm going to use this Team Group SSD. It should do well. Okay, what's holding this in? Oh, I see. It's got little tabs on it, on the end of it, that hold that in. And let's see if that's going to go in this way, then this has to go that way. And then we can put some screws here on the side. These will be the fine threaded screws. See, stuff like this should all be toolless. I shouldn't have to do this. Should go in just like the optical drive. Should slide in and lock into place. Screws don't even want to go in straight. That's not good. I can see why. It just isn't molded well. I could go in off the bottom if I had flat screws. Decisions. Let's see if I can make this work. Need two more. And then that's going to go back in there. Oh, I see. It's got little dimples on this and it pushes down and locks in. Okay, and then this thumb screw just secures it. Still, I can't condone a process that involves you bending something and potentially bending it out of shape. That's just not, you know, just be glad me and this engineer have never met, because I don't think we would be friends. I want to know what is going through your mind. What were you thinking when you made this decision? And come over here and build this computer for me. I want to watch you struggle with it. And then let's send you back to the drawing board and see if you ever do that again. That would be my answer. Now there are 4 SATA ports up here. I don't know which one is number 0. So I'm going to have to take a guess. Looking for etchings on the board to tell me, and I don't see any, and I just want to keep moving, so I don't want to look it up. So I'm just going to pick one. And we'll see what it says when we plug it in. It'll tell us which port we're plugged into, and I can move it around until I find the right one in the BIOS. Oh, wait a minute. This is a right-angled connector as well. How did I do that? The right-angled connector would actually fit really well back here, given our... Oh, no, it won't even plug in. So again, a bad design in that there's a lip where the SSD sits onto the top of the hard drive cage, and that lip prevents the right-angled connector from plugging all the way in. So this connector will not work for me on this build. So I'm going to have to grab a different SATA cable. Do I have SATA cables in the old box? Oh, we got a power cable in there. Oh, Oh, these were the screws I was looking for the N-case M1. So that explains that little mystery. I couldn't figure out where I put these screws. So I gotta make sure I put these in their own little bag and mark them so that doesn't happen again. When a case manufacturer uses a specific type of screw that's not standard, it's really important you hold on to those, because the time will come, sooner or later, you're gonna wanna do something and you're gonna need those screws. And it's not like you can just go to the store and buy them. You'd have to know exactly what you're looking for, and if you don't have them to know what they look like. So this is N-case M1. Okay, so that's marked. And then I need a SATA cable. SATA cable, ta-da, got one. So I'm just gonna pick a random port here to plug into. But I can see it. And then we'll run that over here, plug that in. Into the back of the drive. Yeah, and see, it's gonna push that cable. Here's part of the problem with this design. It's pushing the cables out towards the back panel, and the back panel could intersect and interfere with that. It could create a problem for us. I think it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be tight though, and I don't know why a case this big has to be, why they couldn't give me a 1/4 inch more space or a 1/2 inch more space wider and a 1/2 inch more space on the height. This case would have been much, much better designed if they'd have thought of that. Okay, so let me turn it on. And then let's see what the BIOS says. Oh, I suppose I still need to plug a keyboard and mouse into it though, don't I? So let me do that. Oh, that power button's awful. Plug that in here so we can test these front USB ports at the same time. Okay. Let's try again. See what it says. Peripherals. What port am I in? Verusian Kolustian has contributed $1. Thank you for that. It says it's in number 2, so I think I just need to move it over. Well, let's try this. Turn that off, and let's just move this plug. Doesn't really matter, it just keeps my OCD happy. Let's try the one next to it, see which one that is. Turn that back on. Rick Rubisat says, I donated €5 through PayPal because you're being such a generous guy made me feel to be a bit generous too. Keep up the good work. Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you. All right, let's see. Now we should be in P1, right, instead of P2. Yeah, P1. That feels better. So I'm going to turn this back off. And let me grab my Windows 10 installation media, which should be this one right here. Plug it into a blue USB port so that I'm getting the fast speeds. Turn this back on, and it should just boot automatically since it has nothing else to boot to. It should automatically boot to the flash drive, which is the Windows 10 installation media. I hope. It's just sitting here, doing nothing. You know, I've seen systems that don't like certain flash drives behave this way. And that's what I think is happening. Let's go ahead and cut the power on this and move the flash drive to one of the USB 2 ports instead. Try it again. It doesn't want to boot with that flash drive in there, does it? No bootable devices detected. Let's go to boot override. Oh, boot override doesn't even show it. It's not showing anything. That's not good. Let's try a different USB port. It may just be this flash drive is not going to be compatible with this motherboard, and it's probably a BIOS related problem, to be honest. I think that's the latest BIOS. You can look up a Z77N from Gigabyte and see if there's a newer BIOS than F3. I think F3 was the last version, last I checked it. You know what, let me see if it'll boot to one of my Acronis flash drives, just to see if it's a flash drive issue, which I think it is. So this is an Acronis bootable flash drive. Let's see what happens now. Yeah, that's booting just fine. So it's got to be something to do with the flash drive. Patrick Manny's contributed $5, says Happy New Year. Somebody said it was ready to boot when I turned it off to try it in the USB 3 again. Okay, I'll try it. It shouldn't take that long though, but I'll try it. It shouldn't be taking, whatever it's doing, it's taking an awfully long time. Brandon Looney has contributed £5. He says, have another Coke on me. All right, I think I will. Mine's been getting a little warm. Oh, you're right, there it is. I just am impatient. I'm used to working with much faster hardware, I guess. And yeah. This Coke is just warm, I'm dumping that out. Right. Next, install. Here we go. And let me get a Coke. Cheers, everyone. Don't have a product key. Windows 10 Pro. Next. Up the terms, next, custom, next. There we go. Thank you guys for pointing that out. Patience, grasshopper. Not in this world, man. I got lots of things to do, man. Come on, let's go. Chop, chop. Okay. Let's call Subaru Mike. May not be talking to Subaru Mike. How dare he not take my call?
Hi, you've reached Mike with Affordable Subaru.
All right, well, I will try reaching him later because this is going to go to his daughter. I was just going to call him and say, hey, I got a computer for you. He doesn't even know I'm doing this. Tell Subaru Mike to buy a Volvo. It's funny you'd say that because he just bought a Volvo C70 from a junkyard that was totaled because, what happened to it? Oh, the engine, the motor blew. And so the insurance company totaled the whole car out. The car was very well maintained. It's a hard-top convertible. It's a beautiful-looking car. I think it's a 2009. Anyway, he's going to repair the motor, and yeah, it was a really sharp-looking car. So it's funny. It's funny you'd say that. He likes that. He likes that Volvo, and he's also got a Saab. But the model of Saab he's got has a Subaru engine in it. The Saab and Subaru worked together on this car, and it was sold that way. Is the hard drive LED working? Oh yeah, hard drive LED is blinking on and off like it should. So I got all the front port umbilicals right just by guessing. See, most of my guesses work out okay. Power supply is doing its job. It's a nice clean looking case. It's perfectly silent because it's only got two fans. It's got the CPU fan and the fan in the power supply, and that's it. That's all it's going to need. It won't overheat. It's got built-in Wi-Fi, which I think this person's going to want, and they include the power cable with the power supply. So they're on their own for keyboard, mouse, monitor, speakers, and I'll bet you that's Subaru Mike. Oh, it's not. I think it's a scammer. So I will deal with that later. George O is a friend of mine. He sent me a link to an article about the new version of Intel's NUC, again, not including a power cord. They're back to that again? That's crazy. Oh, well, this time it booted from the flash drive again instead of booting from the hard drive. So if this happens to you when you install Windows, it's a real easy problem to fix. Just hit the power switch on the back of the power supply, pull your USB flash drive out, because everything it needs to complete the install is now on the internal hard drive, and it should boot to that internal hard drive. Let's see. Still taking a long time to initialize this power on self-test period. No bootable devices detected. Well, let's see what we've got for bootable devices. We go over here to peripherals, and the SATA controller is enabled. It's in AHCI mode. This is all internal graphics, Intel Rapid Start I don't care about. Boot order. Where was the boot order? Usually it's right in there. Fast boot is enabled, that's fine. That's fine. Don't need any of that. good. Don't need to deal with any of that stuff. It's all fine. Where's my boot order at? That's a XHCI pre-boot driver. SATA mode. It's got to be in here somewhere. ATA port information. SATA port 1. So there is a 0. I plugged it into 1. Ah, well. It says they're all empty for some reason. Is the BIOS just not seeing it? BIOS isn't seeing the hard drive anymore. That's not good. Let's cut power. And let me just double check my cables. I mean, Windows just installed to it, so what's up with that? Try this again. There, that's better. Don't ask me what that was all about. I don't have a clue. Yeah, you make a good point. On the PS11, the side panels are concave to make room for cable management. That is true around the middle, which I hadn't considered when I was talking about that. But it's still, to me, the space should be in the case, not on the panels. That's my personal preference. Corsair's got a design like that as well. I'm not a fan of it from any manufacturer. So you're right. We might be able to squeeze some cables back there. Now that you mention it, I might be able to at least move these two big cables through the back and then out through here. It's still going to look terrible, but nobody's going to look in there but me when it comes back to me for a repair or an upgrade. Probably. This customer's never going to open it. BIOS F3 is the latest. Yeah, I believe that's true. But it's dead quiet, and it'll get rid of some parts out of my house. And somebody will get a computer. Everybody will be happy then. The white SATA ports are 0 and 1. So I must have it plugged into 1 instead of 0, which, of course, is a 50-50 way of doing it. I've got to do it the wrong way. It's not wrong. My intent was to be on port 0 the whole time. But it's going to boot regardless, and I can shift that around. I don't have to reinstall or anything like that. That's just my OCD. I just like the hard drive to be on port 0. It's just the way I am. Bradley says, I built a computer for my sister for Christmas. Well, that was nice of you, Bradley. Does she like it? Is this thing gonna boot? Is it cookie time? No, it's their dinner time. Oh, don't you get all excited yet. I'm gonna wrap it up and then I'll feed you. Okay, I'm a good boy. You wanna say hello? You wanna say hello, buddy? Where's your brother? Where's your brother from another mother? Oh, there he comes. Here he comes. They just, you guys have a watch? How do you know what time it is? How do you know? He's not going to get fed without you being fed. Don't worry. Don't worry, boy. I got your scruff. I got your scruff. Oh, there's your brother. Hey, Lyle. 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 You want this box? I got a box. I got a box. How about a box? Lyle. Well, he's in no mood. He says, I want food. I'll have the box for dessert. Okay, United States. Yes, that's what I want. Oh, you know what? I don't want to do that just yet. Leave that off. Skip for now. No. Let's do that. No password. Decline. No. Off, off, off. Off, 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 and off. Okay, well, I think as soon as we get to the desktop here, we're going to wrap it up. So if anybody has any final questions for me, this will be the time to ask. Otherwise, I will try and be on tomorrow as well. It's good to have a permanent streaming machine back in place. I think this is going to be permanent. I have a little more tweaking to do on the inside of it, and I can put the side panels back on it. And then I'll finish this one up tonight with drivers. And the configuration will be just basic stuff, you know, Intel chipset drivers, Windows updates, basic configuration stuff. And then I'll get it back in the box and then get that over to Mike. Tony Wallace contributed $1.99. Thank you, Tony, for your contributions today. And what else is there? Just looking through if I'm missing any questions. John Wilson says he just now got the notification that I was live. No explanation for that. Generally speaking, if you want to see if I'm live, just randomly check into YouTube, check in on my channel around 1 o'clock Pacific time or 2 o'clock Pacific time. That is usually when I'm live, just so you know. I try to start at 1 o'clock, but sometimes other things get in the way. Today I was a little bit later. I think I started at around 3 o'clock today. So, but that's the general rule. Between 1 and 3 o'clock, if I'm going to be live, that's when it'll be most of the time. So rather than relying on those notifications. Shane has confirmed the video issue that he was having, the video freezing, was on his end, so I'm glad you got that sorted out, Shane. turn off indexing on this drive. And you know, we've seen this motherboard in past videos now. This is its third or fourth or fifth appearance this board has made on my videos over the years. So just as a reminder of what's in it, let's take a quick look with, let's go to the control panel. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's go to the control panel. And I like to change that view anyway while I'm in here. And we'll go to System. So it's 8 gigs of RAM. A little bit is being used by the video, the built-in video on the CPU. And it's an Intel Core i3-2100, but it's a very slow 2100. It's a 3.1 gigahertz, which doesn't feel at all like that. A modern i3 is a lot faster than this, but it is what it is. Everything was built on a budget because it was for the train computer and I didn't have a customer who wanted it. It was just for fun. And so, you know, like anything else for fun, it doesn't take any priority compared to actual work that needs to be done. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has joined me today and for participating in the chat. And thanks to all my moderators for keeping it civil. Thanks for everybody who's contributed during today's stream to help support the channel, especially special thanks to Ben DeCure, who has contributed $100 today. And wait a minute. Subaru Mike. Let's talk to Mike real quick. Hello?
Hello?
Is this Subaru Mike?
Yeah.
Subaru Mike, I'm live on YouTube right now, so I'm broadcasting our conversation.
You are?
I am.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm doing on today's video?
No.
I've got some spare parts laying around and I'm slapping them together for you to give to Nicole.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have a case.
What?
I have a case. You know, I have that one at the top. You need a case?
No, I got it. It's all done. I'm just, I just got done building it and I'm configuring it. And then I will give it to you in a box and it'll be like new for her. That way.
You are such a good guy.
Aren't I?
Huh?
Aren't I?
Aren't you? Yeah. Are we really live?
Yeah. You want me to pinch you?
I don't feel alive.
You don't look alive either.
I don't.
No, you're not looking well. But I can't see you, so there's that.
You can't see me?
Nope. So anyway, I just wanted you to know, so the next time I see you, I can give you this computer. And as far as that computer at your shop goes, you don't plan on having another computer at the shop?
Well, once I move home, I'll take the one into my office and put it on the shop.
Well, then we should take the one from the shop and, I don't know, refurbish it. What's wrong with it?
It's just
Too slow?
got a well, yeah, it's just slow, and it's got an advisory that it's got a bootleg copy of Windows on it.
Oh, yeah, I know why that happened. That's Windows 7, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's all right. We can fix that up, by the way. But
We can put a newer variety of bootleg
well,
software on it.
no, I don't use bootleg operating. It's not a bootleg. It's a different issue. But I will. We can put Windows 10 on it, but it'll probably run really, really slow with Windows 10. So we might just see what we can do to make it a little better.
How about Windows 9.5?
Windows what?
9.5.
Windows 9.5?
a little faster?
No,
With Windows 9.5?
it's just not quite there.
Not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can fix that shop computer. It's just I don't know how old it is. It may not be worth fixing, but we can upgrade it, so that you can still use it for the shop and keep the one you have at home at home.
Would you like me to drop that TV off at your house tonight? I'm going to be in the neighborhood.
Hey, that'd be great.
I'm going to be in the neighborhood.
Well, then I better get to work on this computer and I can make a trade.
Oh, sure.
How's that sound?
Sure. Sure.
What time you thinking of stopping by?
Well, you can go through at 6:30 and then the house, and I would be over there about 7.
Perfect. I'll see if I can have this done by 7.
Okay.
Did you talk to her at all about time off?
Yeah, she actually starts a new job on the 12th or 13th.
Yeah.
You won't know her schedule until then. It doesn't have a weekend off before that.
She does or does not have a weekend off before?
Does not have a weekend off
Oh, boy, that's cutting it close. Urgh.
before the 12th, 13th.
Rats.
But the training might be on days. She might be on days or nights, but probably during work during the week, I would think. But that starts to do that. But we might, you'll probably know in a week or so, but let's just play it by ear.
Yeah, it's tough to get hotel reservations when you play by ear, though. That's my only concern.
What?
Well, it's tough to get hotel reservations.
What?
What do you mean, what?
Playing by ear, I can't hear you.
Oh, you're out of tuna.
What? If you're playing by ear, I can't hear you.
All right, well, we'll figure it out. So, all right, I'm going to get back to work, and I'm going to wrap up my, like I said, I'm broadcasting live right now, and we'll talk later. Or I'll see you in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, don't forget I need the power cord for that TV.
Oh, yeah, we're in.
Okay. All right, see you in a bit.
Yep.
Bye. All right. Well, that's a bummer. Want to take a little weekend trip with my wife and Mike and his wife for us to go to wine country in California. And my wife's birthday's on the 17th. He's talking about not knowing until the 13th what his wife's schedule is going to be at her job. She's taking on a new position at work, and that's 4 days away. So I don't know how that's going to play out, but well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay, so now I think I'm ready to wrap it up. Carrie, what does Thready need? A boot to the head. I don't know what Thready needs. If I'd have known, I'd already have it fixed, but it's working my last nerve is what it's doing. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all again tomorrow, somewhere around 1 and 2 p.m. Pacific time, if all goes well. And again, a thank you to all my friends in blue there for keeping it civil in the chat and for all of the contributions and support given generously throughout today's stream. I really appreciate that very much. I will see you all again tomorrow, and until then, bye for now.